There.
Yes, we are. Feel free.
Oh, I'm going to stop their thing.
Hello, John Bobbitt.
Boom. Okay. Their chat's still going on there, but, they're talking about all this. He is where warm waters halt in the Texas fishing thing or when all that stuff. And it's where warm waters halt. It's not where fly waters halt. Where warm waters halt. It has to do with hot springs. And he quotes on the deepest, or the depth, he says how deep is a hole. And, he talks about fire hole. Okay, so then you go, how deep is a fire hole? Well, how deep is a fire hole? It's where warm waters halt, the deepest there is. And it's 1,002 feet is the deepest ever measured in the in Colorado at the Pagosa Hot Springs is where warm waters halt. It's also the home of Fred Harmon, who made the Red Ryder BB gun that he shot all those meadowlarks with. So that was the end of those meadowlarks. So the end of their warm water, or their warm waters halt because of that guy there in Pagosa Springs too. So, and then we go into Terry Scant and search for the word deep. There are many disabled people who are deeply into maps and geography, and they are having fun. Well, that'd be me, one of them. Because I don't have the 5-day a week job where I have to take my mind off the treasure. My mind's on the treasure all the time, most all the time. The ancient ruins I discovered are another thing, but and then here he says, why do you ask me how deep is a hole? I cannot single out one to be my favorite. He can't single out a hole to be his favorite, but you can single one out to be the deepest. Guinness has. Okay, some have lacked the proper clothing, food, and water. What about high water? Does that mean deep or higher than normal? If I were standing where the treasure chest is, I'd see trees, mountains, I'd see animals, I'd smell wonderful smells of pine needles or pinyon nuts, sagebrush, and know the treasure chest is wet. Well, you asked me a lot of it. Okay, now when he says the treasure chest is wet, and you're talking about waters there and stuff, and he talks about somebody coming out all muddy, and so with the treasure, in other words, the treasure's in a place that'll puddle at least and get muddy. And if you go in the streams and the rivers, there's very little mud in the mountain rivers. It's mostly sand and stuff because the mud and silt gets washed down into the valleys, and that's where you find a lot more mud and silt in the river valleys. So you won't find that. So it would be not close to the creek then if it was in mud, because the mud would be another place that's maybe on the way to the creek. A meadow or a bowl pit, like where maybe water soaks in the ground and runs on to the creek or something. It's where shallow spot in the ground. So it seems logical to me that a deep thinking treasure searcher could use logic to determine the clue to the location of the treasure. Is someone doing that now? And I don't know. Is it the way they say the blogs that it may be significant? It's what they whisper. So that was in 2015. And I wasn't on this good solve until I wasn't on this solve till 2016. August of 2016 I started. So all of his comments before August of 2016, I was not on the correct solve, so any references that he would have made to somebody being certain distances and all that before August of 16, all of those comments do not refer to my search. But they refer to somebody else who may have been where I'm searching. And I think what it is they were, he knows where they were at. They said we went here, 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 here. And he knows, well, to get from here to here, they drove right past here. So they came within 200 feet. So it's someplace they drove past within 200 feet. It's not necessarily the place they were looking, but they went past it on the way to get there. And they had no idea that it was right there. Cold, heavy loads and high water be a trail marker. Well, I found something on the map today that, but it's still a mile or so from my primaries where I found the canoe and the blade, the Fenn with the fish and all that. That Fenn with the fish and the canoe are about 1,000 feet apart, and that's the same distance as where Warm Water's Halt is 1,000 feet below the surface. And it talks about think deeply, think deep. So things that are deep, holes, fishing holes, but he says not in the water, it's not underwater. So, but it could be on the shoreline. And is on the surface of the water, is not, at the surface or at the high water line, is not underwater. It's on top of the water, kind of. So it could be. So those thoughts are deeply profound and have me all more satisfied. Okay. No less than a dozen people have said the thrill of the chase has given them new purpose in their life, and when they thought there was nothing more to hang around for, these thoughts are deeply profound. Yeah. Well, I was overweight and out of shape and all that, and I'm still not the fittest sheep in the flock, but I'm in better shape than I was. There's no closure from your trip. Some want to know how deep the treasure is buried. Mr. Dunham in South Dakota took his wife and boy to, they did it. They didn't find it, but he said the gathering the wood to justify the trip. One man said Forest Service is mad because the treasure hunters are making them do the job they're paid to do. Okay, yeah, so, he don't care. The Forest are, they're there, they're getting paid, they got a job, and if they got to rescue people and arrest them and all that, that's part of their job. But it's not in a national forest. You people in Yellowstone, you're lost. It's about the stories, not the locations. The stories are shown in the images in the rocks. So it was 2 feet deep in the pond beside my house. Okay, so that was just that story about someone thinking it was in the pond by his house. I think if it's in a pond, it's not the one at his house. I have deep feelings about olden days, especially when they reek with the history of how the world used to be when the simple drawings of a raffle ticket. These artifacts will pass to a new custodian, and in time others will inherit what influences come with their ownership. Okay, so it's kind of a he says he gives you title to the gold. Well, you know, I'm curious, is he watching and keeping track of who's doing what and who's on top of this, who's going to get it, and all the while it's sitting in a safe at some executor's home or some lawyer's office, and when he dies, and in his will he will have the name of that person who is the closest that will be awarded the treasure for discovering his poem and the real meanings and really finding all this, his trove for all to seek. His trove is the art, the drawings. The art and drawings are in wood frames, and there's that picture in the wood inside the treasure box. That's, aside from the designs outside the box, that one inside at least coincides and goes hand in hand with all the figures in the rocks I've found. It's the same type of thing. It's abstract art, and he has multiple stories about telling people to become abstract artists if they aren't good at other art. If you can't draw something realistic, then draw something that's, a duck with a square beak. It's still a duck. It's got, that look like a duck. I can't accept that that's a duck. It has a square beak, and I just can't accept that looks like a duck. Well, look at you. People can't look at an elephant or a mammoth as an omega. They're mega fauna. They're huge. They're the biggest animal that ever, or the biggest mammal, we'll say. I think that other non-aquatic mammal, the biggest non-aquatic mammal to roam the earth, because whales. But it seems logical to me. The deep-thinking treasure searcher would use logic to determine an important clue to the location of the treasure. It's someone doing that now, and I don't know it. Yeah. Yeah, I've got something. I was up there, and something I found on the map is easy to walk to, and I've noticed something in that spot that was it was a guy with a fishing pole in the rock, and I got to go check there. There's other things about it. There was some log sections and stuff, pieces of a tree, like wood had been placed there. And hey, thanks, Steve. I see that on there. Yeah, he's got the whole New Mexico hang up on New Mexico, and it, like, the majority of the searchers are in Yellowstone, so he lost all of those people. And then there's the next big chunk of searchers are in New Mexico, and he's got that little chunk of people. But Forrest said it's not in the desert. A lot of New Mexico is more deserty, and my location also very much relates to Lewis and Clark's expedition. You can think of that, My fifth great granduncle, Major Robert Rogers, in 1765, petitioned the King of England for an expedition up the Missouri River to the Shining Mountains. From there, it's a 20-mile carry to the Oregon River that leads to the Pacific Ocean. And that's where the name Oregon came from. My family is responsible for the name of the state of Oregon. If he didn't write that, then there would have never been a state of Oregon. It would have been Jefferson or something. But Lewis and Clark may not have made their trip. So, my family's responsible for that. It's kind of neat that I've discovered the ancient route that they used. Heavy loads is a mechanical device. It's a mechanical device made for moving organic material up a mountain. Not down the mountain, up the mountain. They go down the mountain on their own. And let's see. Let's go to the next deep. I haven't gone through all this. This is a wow. Whoop, missed it. The invitation may have motivated me to fly faster and keep my head down deeper upon my return. So if he's keeping his head down deep, he's looking down, okay? And some of my rocks figures are looking down. Most of them are looking up at the stars and the heavens. But some of them are looking down at holes in the rocks and little gaps, and they're looking down at other figures that are carved in the rocks, and they're quickly looking down. And that's also something I seen in the lid of the treasure box, was one figure looking down. And there, I see that in the picture on the cover too, the rock in the background, there's a face looking down. And so there's going to be, I think, a face looking down in a hole or at a hole in the rock. Does a hole have to go down? A hole can go in to the rock too, right? It's not really a cave. It's just a hole because you can get your hands in there and stuff. When I was outside plant engineer manager, we had hand holes that you could put your hands in. You couldn't put it in a man in there because it's not a manhole, it's a hand hole. There's that deep. Go to the next deep. Okay, can you imagine how that made me feel? Today, my thoughts sometimes harken back to Mummy Joe, who wrapped in sheepskins so long ago and buried deep in the dirt. What would I have thought when I was a kid sitting on my rock, knowing that Joe was just a few feet away, and there are among you, integrated by America. So, I went there with my metal detector. I detected, and he talks about putting his jars 3 feet down so a metal detector can't find them. And then he's talking about Joe and buried deep in the dirt. Okay, so I know that spot, I'm going to have to go there with a regular shovel and go down 3-4 feet and see if that thing is freaking there. It's because he doesn't give us that bit of information. That's one bit of information that that he has on a pendulum, and it could be this way or that way. You don't know. You know, is it buried? It could be, since it wasn't right under that rock. But then it could have been where he was sitting and looking at that rock and not under the rock. So, geez, it's just... Okay. Okay. Does it classify as a park or a desert? Oh, yeah. A park? Well, he says in the woods, and it's pretty much there's going to be woods there. It's in a forest. It's in a national forest. BLM tends to be dry, deserty, sagebrush, you know. But the sagebrush grows up in the hills, too. So, Clayton Fenn, who's Skippy's son, professional sea diver, deep sea diver. He be sure and put that word deep in there. Deep water. How deep is it? There's that guy who was talking about water earlier, and here it is, deep water. Deep sea diver. Okay, the water was deep and cold. Several dozen huge golden trout slowly swished through the glassy water. To my disappointment, none of them wanted my fly. Sorry, I was thinking about the fish out of water we deal with. Life says Mesa Verde, Colorado. Is it a park by surround? It's not Mesa Verde, I'll tell you that. Does it classify as a park, or does it hypothetically, though, please answer the question. What if it hypothetically in a park, desert territory, does it classify as a park? I'm just saying that. Does it? Mesa Verde is under the National Park System. It's not there. It's not at a registered archaeological site. It's at an unregistered unknown, forbidden archaeology site. Oh, I live in a desert. It's a high valley. There's nothing but sagebrush. There isn't a tree for miles. That's a desert. A desert is a place with a whole bunch of rocks and four pinyon trees, you know. A forest has trees you can't count. It's in a forest. It's not in a desert. A desert has an ugly beauty to it. A forest there's no ugly to the forest, basically, except for what man's done to it. Here is a really cool one. How he kind of put it right there. It tells you where warm waters halt, basically. Can you see it? But I was drawn to the seductive glamour of Sam's camera. With a deep breath and a giant spring. Okay? Take out breath and a giant. Deep spring. With a deep spring, okay? Right there is he telling you it's a deep spring. Or I don't know if it's giant, it's not really, it's just because Hot Springs. It's not like there's a whole bunch of them around it. There's another one, 20 miles from there. 3 feet deep pond. Here's Shiloh coming down the chute and across a 3 foot deep pond. Halt was built, or where did I see Halt? How did I see Halt? It was built and something. My brain was messing with the words there. Okay, unintentionally. Across a 3 foot deep pond that was built for anyone who was willing to test the cold water gods at an elevation of 10,300 feet. Now that's 100 feet above. So he's telling you the cold waters are at 10,300 feet. So the warm waters must be just below that at 10,200 feet. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Okay. I don't understand the question. Under a tree somewhere deep in a pine forest, and let my body go back to the earth. So, if I had my way, I would die under a tree somewhere deep in a pine forest. Okay, so he's telling you it's in a pine forest. Here he didn't use the pinyon. He just says pine. I'm sure 16. It's after the pinyon comment. And he's not using pinyon, he's using pine instead of pinyon now. So, the pinyon, forget the pinions. I don't think there are any at this spot. There are pine trees, and some of the places I climbed up to, the pinions don't grow at the elevation the treasure's at. They stop 1,000 feet below there, just like the rattlesnakes. There's no snakes. He's telling you, don't go looking where there be snakes. He's telling you to go above the elevation of the rattlesnake. Hey. Yeah, it's doesn't mean deep or higher than normal. I wanted to create some intrigue. Yay, channel, I don't have to listen to Toby say how great he is for an hour. I don't really go there, but I'm very confident of my solve. Please, because pine and pinyon grow together. Okay, yeah, they don't. Pinyon grows at 7,500 feet. Oh, yeah, well, the treasures. I'm at 7,600 feet, and the treasure's more than 1,000 feet higher than me. So, yeah, there's no pinions and no snakes, no rattlesnakes. I have seen other snakes, but not. I haven't seen. Rattlesnakes don't go up there. I've seen rattlesnakes down here at 7,600. I'm at 7,650 feet. And when I found out there used to be a Lake Alamosa here, and they said its elevation, its height, it's the water level was 7,650 feet. It's like I'd be right on the shoreline and then you can look down and imagine all of that, but that's lower than me off that way would have been a huge. They say it'd be as big as Lake Superior, or Lake Michigan. It'd be bigger than Lake Michigan, basically. It'd be a huge lake out there, but you can see the mountains on the other side of it. Did it mean deep or higher than normal? Water high. Okay, I wanted to create some intrigue and adventure. Water high is the elevation of the lake. That's its elevation makes it high, not its depth. And I'll tell you, the lake is at the upper limits that he gave you. The highest elevation that he said the treasure can be found at. So see, it's over 10,000 feet. It's at 10,200 feet. That's his 10,000. It's below that lake, and it's below the blaze. That's a blaze. That's one of the blazes. That's where Toby got his Canada border thing wrong. That's not what Forrest wasn't hinting at, that it's not in Canada. That wasn't that clue. The clue was actually there was a clue in Canada, but not the treasure. But there is a clue on the Canadian map that he thought might be in the book, on the map that was in the book. So there's a place in Canada. The name of the place is a clue. Next time, you might ask, how deep is a hole? Okay, and this person was asking about travels and searches, studies, involvement in certain organization. What is your opinion on how prehistoric man made their way to the Western Hemisphere? They have followed the glacier routes in Greenland to travel the north of the land. I would like to know how your theory is linking them from the other. Sure. Blesses your personal knowledge. So he's saying there, you might as well ask, well, how deep is a hole? I know why. Because this guy was hitting on something. He was hitting on the how ancient people got to North America and how they traveled around North America and stuff. His poem follows a route that ancient people followed. And it goes, that's why I was telling you about the Lewis and Clark thing. Then there is an accidental, the honesty came out through his, you don't want to ask him about the treasure, the poem. You want to ask him anything else. If you ask him about the carnival did he go to any carnivals in Temple, Texas, and what was his favorite ride? He's going to slip. There's going to be a clue slipped in to the answer. He's clever at that. I'm going to say something. Use a word that they won't know is a keyword to the treasure, or it's the 6 degrees of separation. But then again, it doesn't matter because he was telling the location of the treasure and elevation. It doesn't mean we don't start higher or lower. I think it was throwing us off. Well, when he says take the canyon down, you're not going down. I'll tell you that. He does play misdirection because he was a pilot, and a lot of pilots like to fly inverted. Like they inverted George Washington on the dollar. Inversion. Like in the Bible, he says, as above, so below, as in heaven, so on earth, as in the beginning, so in the end. So there are things that tied to the beginning that also tied to the end. In the entire poem, you follow the poem, you read the poem, or you read the book, you read the poem, you go back, look at the pictures going backwards, and then you read the book again, read the poem again, and all of this is supposedly you. And when you're in the right spot, you pick up on the clues, and you go, aha! All these carved rocks around here, and this area has a gate that it can be considered his Spanish toy factory. And his father parked the Spanish toy factory is also the school. So that's where he carved the rocks, under his desk at school. He called it the Spanish toy factory. Okay, so if this area with all these carved rocks is the Spanish toy factory, it's also the school. So the gate to this area would be the door to the school, where his father would park the car, and there was a sign there with his name on it that he'd sit there and watch the sign and that door to the school. And when I went there, I found the Alpha Omega up on the side of the hill. Only tells us that the treasure itself is 7,000. The clues will lead to the spot. The clues start higher or lower. End game is 7,500, 10,000 feet. Yeah, it's in there. No, it's above 8,000. It's above 8,500. The start isn't. Go down to the next deep. Why don't you ask me how deep is the hole after? But I think this last summer there were, I'm guessing, but I think about 35,000 people out looking for the treasure chest. Wow. They're not in my area. Now you see in here you'll find, I bet, usually when he reads a poem he gets a word wrong or out of sequence. Or enter riches new and old, begin at where warm waters halt, and take it in the canyon, not far, but too far to walk. Unless the person with the page he was in Spanish class. Yeah, I haven't found much Spanish involved in his treasure zone, but French were interred there. He found a Frenchman's tombstone. There's a clue. Professional deep sea diver. Del Netzel, his water runs deep. And he's a really neat guy, too. He runs a blog. I think he controls the whole blog. It's very interesting. I read his blog and blah, blah. No. He doesn't mention me. Oh, back down. Next deep. Hopefully these are nice long ones with only one mention. As they move deeper into the mountains, the women constantly scan the landscape for physical matches to the clues from the poem. Okay, well, what's a physical match from the clues in the poem? What's a physical match? What kind of... Are you looking for a phrase from the poem written with spray can on the wall? No, you're looking for the art in the book. I found out he doesn't like dumb questions asked of him. I built how does view a mountain bike. It got dusted with snow last night. I heard someone said up in Salida they got some snow up there, but I didn't get any here. It's still in the forecast, and I can see some snow over in the hills 20 miles to the east. Like we were playing 13-year-old games. I got the one... is it here? I think I had it in here somewhere. Oh. There was the I just had it open. Oh, yeah, you see, this is a picture from a Jimmy Stewart movie, right? And you see the eye and the eye and the nose. There's three heads. These are three heads across here. And there's this skull here, and there's three more, So I don't know if in the movie they knew that was there. There's a border of characters going across around it, a frame. So, yeah, that's from some old Jimmy Stewart movie. And Jimmy Stewart did a movie. He played an Air Force pilot. Okay, this is my Clovis girl is behind this tree. But this was the area. I think I got that picture of the... Zoom out. Zoom out. Well, not there. How did that happen? His toys. There's somebody. This guy's up on top. This is a figure. This is his face. See, you see, he's got a smile even. He's got an eye, and a smile there. Here's his arm, and oh, look. You see that? He's on top of this is his girlfriend underneath him. There's her eye, and there's her other eye, and there's her mouth. This is her hair. Okay. So, yeah, you know what they're doing. Okay, so there's, these figures in the rocks. Here's some guy with his arms up. Marble definitely plays a part. It's volcanic, ashy stuff. It's not marble. It's not. There are quartz, lots of quartz. Lots of quartz. There's gold. The world's biggest super fun gold mine cleanup is not far from it. Boy, what do I have there? Oh, this was the, and I noticed, you see, this is the boy, the Rockwell boy, his face with his hands up over his face, and, it's not the right angle for him. He's over here on this left side. But there was a face down here, and I didn't look in this hole. I gotta go back and look in that hole right there. But I've climbed all over that and climbed down this and went through here. But you see here, there's an alpha. See the A? Alpha. And then next to it is Omega. You know what I mean? Marvel rolls. Yeah, it's Marvel gaze. You got to stare at the rock long enough until you start seeing the shapes in them. Stay up late at night. You get dead tired and then look at it. Your mind is not going to erase stuff that it doesn't want to see. And you people that don't want to see these things are afraid of goblins and spooks and things. You're afraid of the spirit of the earth coming out and getting you. Yeah, all the clues meld together at the end. But you see, that's also a pair of legs, right? And look at this guy up here in the window. Is he throwing that box out the window? It's not another guy with a tombstone. But see, this is a head too. And this is a guy's arms. Meld the clues, yeah. Yeah. If you see shapes in the rocks, you're going to get an extreme amount of criticism. Look at all the criticism I get from people who don't believe me, don't see it. I don't see it. You're nuts. You have a psychological disorder. You know, they have a psychological disorder called idiocracy. They don't have faith in other people. They only have faith in themselves. They can't believe what other people tell them because so many people have lied to them. Made a phony rock to cover. I'm thinking he can see the treasure from the road. This one thought. He can see the treasure from the road, or he can see a rock that he put over the treasure from the road. So it's you know, that kind of thing there. So if that rock that he covered the treasure with moves, he knows that somebody got the treasure. So if you go to find the treasure and there's a rock sitting on it, make sure you move it so it's not sitting in the same spot again. So that he can tell, oh, it's somebody found it. You know, but then when you're close to a road, you got to wonder if he imagined somebody, you know, veering off the road and crashing into the tree, the treasure's not going to be that close to the road where somebody can crash into it and the recovery crew to tow the car out also finds the treasure. I don't think it's there, or where a car goes down into the creek, you know, that those kind of places where there'd be any kind of maintenance or removing crashed vehicles or clearing culverts. There are people that every year go and check every culvert out there, so it's not in a culvert or anything like that. It's a man-made structure, I would presume. But and I don't know if he considers an ancient archaeological site a man-made structure. So, especially when the Forest Service won't. So this is something. Look at this. I found this. This is one of my pictures. And look at here. Look at these two holes. This one here looks like some ancient drain. And look, there's a face right here. There's somebody in there. There's a figure up here, too. And he might be holding the tombstone. But, oh, yeah, people go, but yeah, it's not in a culvert. It's not that close to it's far enough from the road, but not too far. I'm looking at spots that resemble where he got lifted out by the Jolly in when he got shot down in Laos, you know, and the helicopter pulled him out. So yeah, I was looking at these holes, and this one here is interesting because it's right behind, and you can see right in there, but it looks like it curves around, goes in there. This is like a dome or a shell of a rock, and it's like it broke off, and so we can see inside it. That's why I'm still looking for places inside. Like this could be that could be a home in there. This hole here might follow a chamber down in there. My drone scares the hell out of me that it's going to crash, fail. First one caught on fire, destroyed 2 GoPros, crashed once and recovered amazingly because of the aftermarket props I get from Master Air Screw. They're the best props. I've trimmed pine trees with it, and the props don't break. If you put that brittle stock prop on there, boom, it would shatter as soon as you hit a pine branch. But my Master Air Screw props are like weed cutters, man. They'll cut right through it. Um, yeah, I don't know if my drone's getting, some software is nailing it. But I was trying to figure out where this was, and I couldn't figure out. And then I saw the helicopters down here, because you see this is the rotor. You see the helicopter down here, and this is the rotors up here. And I think there's another helicopter. There's two of them. But I've searched around here. There's another Tombstone guy here. There's these two Tombstones up here, and this. See, with my old Sony, my Sony DSLR, this looked like the treasure box, but this Nikon, I can definitely tell that's not the treasure. But it was sitting in between these two tombstones. I'll show you this guy. This guy's huge. You see him? Oh, where's a pointer? I'm bad with pointers. And let's use a dart. Okay. So, here's the guy's head. Here's his shoulders. Here's his arms coming down. His hands are down here. He's got this big box on his chest. You see his head. And his arm there. His arm on the other side. And the arm here. You see his fingers right here. I'll zoom into his fingers. There, it's interesting. He's reclining. He's in his lounge chair. He's tired and weak. There's his hand. These are his fingers. The fingers running here. But you notice his fingers are other Indians. That's his head, the head. See this? It's a row of Indians, dead Indians laying there. We had a road in Oregon near Medford called Dead Indian Road. You see the other figure? All these are, these are their heads looking down. This is only one of them. See, there's another guy next to him. See, here's the other guy next to him. There's his eye, his nose, his mouth. His big giant there laying next to him. Might be his girlfriend. Yeah. They're huge. He's 500 feet long. This is that tunnel, that entrance. Yeah, I was seeing, you can see in there a little bit, but there's a tree. You got to go up there and go in there, I take the picture. Okay, now, I know I haven't. Where's that picture? A little bit where he is. Oh, I went way too far. Oh, up. Somebody said the blaze was an eagle and a nest, Here's the eagle right up here. That's the white eagle head. There are better angles to get of him, but this is his beak and his eye. And you see there are caves up there too. Openings. Oh yeah, I was looking for something else. I wanted to show you the boy on the swinging on the tree. Oh, I know where I'll find it. Sort by. They, because I cropped it out. And so it'll be one of the later modified pictures. Oh. Huh. It might be in the other folder. Oh, dang it. Yeah. Do, 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 do. Do, do, do. See his face? Look at that face under the log. Oh, dang thing. Dang, I'm trying to show something there. Don't put something over the screen. Jeez. Okay, I'm getting close to that picture. See, there's an old Mac head, too. That's a big one right by the creek. I gotta check him more. That's a spot I camp right there, so I'll be up there in a couple weeks. I hope they open the road. Okay, we're getting close here. I think the boy is... Where is he? This is really neat stuff here, man. This is... you know, look at that. There's all kinds of stuff in here. See the omegas? There's a fate. You know, look at this guy in here. It's clearly eye, nose with two nostrils. Here's another face right below here, another face there. Here's an elephant head. That's what that is. That's his trunk. That's why it's sticking down like that. Here's big gorilla head here. Another guy in there. So, see the omega here. Omega, alpha, alpha. Okay, back to... River. Okay, this is where it is. And he is right here. Okay, here you see, you know, he says, think about kids. Kid 12 years old, you know. Oh, trees in there's... See his head here? And arms going across. Where's the... Oh, the tree's over here. It's a different angle on this shot. But there was another kid over here looking up at him somewhere on the other side. You see a leg and his arm out and his face. But there's another picture of it. Dang it. Oh. Why is the active tab off the screen? 876 near there. I'm trying to find the correct location. Here he is. There it is. Okay. That isn't it. It's not the same picture. There's another angle, and you can see the other guy looking up at him. Here's his leg there. Whatever. Okay, so back to the Terry Scant stuff in the deep. More deep. But what he's talking about deep is deep sea dive. He's a deep sea diver. Ba ba ba. So I think I've about run out of things here for today. But yeah, those people that New Mexico, they're lost. You know, I don't even get mentioned on there anymore. And they talk about, they're an old searcher. They've been searching a lot. I've been searching over 5 years. Over 5. I started in 2013. I learned about it, and that's when I started researching. And my first search was May of 14. So there's 5 years of being on it, and yeah, I've been on it 5 years, and I'm not an amateur searcher. I'm onto it, and it's just I get tired of people, the trolls that have don't believe you, and the people that see one video and you ain't got it yet. Well, nobody else does either. So what's your point? Has somebody else found it? Then you can't say that I'm wrong unless somebody else has found it somewhere else. Then your assumption just came right out of your behind. I can't. Those people that's what I'm going to tell them too. I say, well, nobody else has found it, so you must be the liar. I can't. When people, when somebody pushes me down, I push them back. I don't take BS. And I'm so close that I'll never give Forrest a hard time on it. I don't ask him questions because I know it upsets him if you do ask him a question that's direct and on the subject, But I look for him to say something that I can use that 6 degrees of separation to associate it with the treasure. And there's just been way too much associated with my spot that I've found too many of the drawings, So, so what? You found the gypsies. Where's the treasure? It's like, you fool. He said there's a trove. The trove is the drawings in the book, and you find that trove in nature. And I've found most of his trove. And so I don't know if I'm waiting for Forrest to pass away before I get the title or what the deal is, And we get him. I have to pull my shirt up here like this. So this old Harvey, it's imagination. If your imagination will take you to the treasure, your knowledge won't help you, even if you worked for the NSA. You all have a good day. Say real, Bill. Yep. Have a good day, Bruce. Everybody else, the screen went away. Yeah, I've got a lot of time in this thing. And you see my new toy? When you open up the box and you pull out the instructions, you think you're getting a Winchester, but you open it up and the instructions. This is the instructions that came with my Winchester BB gun. and I was shooting Lincoln with this yesterday. The box that the BB gun came in, I put like seven knife holes and stuck 7 pennies in there, zinc pennies, the ones that aren't worth a penny, and use them for targets. And I picked them all off, ping, 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 about 30 feet away. It's just a BB gun, but the pellets it shoots, it'll mash that pellet down to a flat thing. It goes through cardboard real good. And one reason I got a mouse that comes out and sits there and looks at me, and I want to pop that little mouse. I like animals, but I don't like mice in my RV. I don't. You get one run across your forehead, and you won't allow them to live in your RV again. I got 4 traps set. About every other month, I got to put the traps out because one will get in through I got to go plug it. There's a hole that when I got a flat tire, it put a hole in the floor under the shower, and dust comes up there. I just use some dog treats. I stuff a piece of dog treat in the trap underneath the paddle and all, and then they have to work, and it for sure gets them. But 3 of the last 4, it snagged them by their feet, and I said I throw them outside, and they run off crippled, but they get to live. So, yeah, Jimmy Dean. I don't buy your sausage. You probably don't make sausage. Oh, Jack, he's after it. He sees it, and sometimes he's sleeping right on the floor, right by where the mouse, and the mouse runs right past his nose, and I said, "You missed him, you dummy." Yeah, Jack's a good dog. He's very smart. You can look at him and he's thinking, but sometimes he thinks too much. You open the door to let him in, and he sits there and stares at you like, "What? I didn't knock." Yeah, you did, dog. So I get him these canine carryouts. They're like bacon bits, but they're not on the danger list. Of the don't feed your dog these list. Bacon bits are, but these canine carryouts aren't. Jimmy, oh yeah, cool. You related? He's your dad, right? Yeah. Well, okay. I'm going to end it. I've been on here long enough. I kind of got my points across that I was trying to make. And yeah, don't follow gypsies. They're clueless. They eliminated the state that the treasure's in right there. And then they compound it by making every choice after that has to be wrong because it's not in the right place. Pagosa Springs is where warm waters halt. It's the world's deepest hot spring according to Guinness. So start there. We'll see ya.